today we are going to talk about how physical struggle can grow your courage by applying 3 steps.
Yes.
And so the steps are exploration, facing consequences, and being open to surprises. Hello, Anna. So, if you dare to explore what you're being confronted with, you'll be surprised to find out how much courage you have in you to turn your life around for the better.
Yeah.
Simply spoken.
It's hard, but
So,
yeah, surprises make it easier, I think.
yeah. So, do you want to comment on this? Because
Um,
I believe you agreed with it.
I think the struggle and the surprises and pushing through that makes you courageous and makes it easier to do and makes it more not fun but worthwhile and fulfilling, definitely. And it'll make the challenge of the struggle that you're going through in the end just worth it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so too. It's just, I believe that a lot of people, when they don't know what the consequences of what they're facing, they're not up for the challenge because they don't know what to expect. And usually we are much stronger than we anticipate, unless, of course, we already have endured a lot of challenges.
Hmm.
But if we haven't endured much hardship, and most of us are a little bit like, hmm. And then, of course, there are also those out there who are never afraid of anything.
No, if you're afraid of something, it's because you haven't gone through it, and if you haven't gone through it, you possibly will stop and you won't actually keep going and try, and then you won't realize how much better off you'll be in the end.
Yes, yes,
But I
that's
think
so true.
if you keep going, then you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because yeah, it's just you got to keep going to get the prize. I think because if you don't keep going,
Yeah,
then you'll just be empty and feeling like you'll feel regret and you'll wonder and there'll just be a lot of feelings that you didn't want in you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I needed to switch the mics for a sec. Tiny bit distracted. Is the sound better like this? Or does it
You're little.
make it any different?
You sound like you're in a tunnel right now.
This is. Oh, okay. The other one was better.
Talk now.
I'll go back. Switch back.
You couldn't hear me that way.
So, yeah. So is this better?
That sounds better. It's more clear.
Okay. Well, I can hear you with both, but this one has a low battery. So,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, I believe that I agree with you that it
Yeah.
all comes down to the experience. So we wrote down a few things about courage because this is the month with the theme courage.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are wondering what are we talking about, we are part of uh, a family called Movement Makers. It's from Evan Carmichael. Evan Carmichael is the YouTube expert. And he always gives us a certain theme each month. And this month it was courage, which is, by the way, suggested by Terry Thompson. And hopefully he can join us in a little bit. But if not, he came up with it.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know
And
he came
so,
up with it.
I'm sorry?
I didn't know he came up with it.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't.
yeah, he
I
did.
didn't.
He did. So, when it comes to courage, we've been, I don't know, have you been? No, I have been talking to other people, and I actually wrote down a little thing. And my first question related to it was, okay, are these things about not having courage, or is it about fear? And do we use the lack of courage as an excuse not to do something?
Do we use the what of courage?
Or do we use the lack of fear as an
Oh,
excuse to say we don't have the courage because we don't know what to expect? Maybe you get judged. That's that's one of the reasons why I say it takes courage to actually explore what's going on and what's happened, and also to face the consequences. But then again, what I'm talking about is actually what already has happened. And when it comes to applying courage and saying, I don't dare to, you of course don't know what is going to happen. But also facing what has happened, I believe that really requires a lot of courage. Because most of us...
I think it has to do with a lack of... it's a combination of a fear and a lack of desire and commitment, I think. Because if you're not willing to, willing to go through the fire to get to the other side, you're just not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same with Tony Robbins, right? I don't know if you know, he has this, what is it? The hot coal challenge. He calls it differently. Yeah. What do we say? It's not walking through the fire, because you don't walk through the fire, you walk on hot coals.
Yeah.
But I did actually, by the way, that's a whole different story. When I was at one of his events. But yeah, it still comes back to the unknown, I suppose. Again. So we wrote a little something down, and that's when it comes to exploring, it means that it's important to find out what's going on, to understand what is being done, what can be done, what is to be expected, and doing some research. And self-awareness is crucial to the improvement of any situation, because if you don't know yourself, then you don't know how far you are willing to go. But I guess the research is a very important component. And sometimes that means facing that life at that moment is hard, that you are encountering some challenges, that life may never be the same as it was, that people don't automatically agree with you, that they may not be prepared to help you out, and you have to go find other people. And I think
collaboration is very important.
Yeah, okay.
Just happened. It's over and done.
What happened?
So I do have to change to this.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm still in a tunnel, or?
No, I can hear you. You're good.
Oh, okay. Look back in the tunnel. Yeah, I'm someone who likes to do everything with my left side. So I watch with my left eye and I listen with my left ear. So I'm a little bit
I don't do anything with my left hand
compared to other people. It seems to have to do, what I heard, with how I process information. So, but that's an entirely different story. So when it comes to confrontation, it's the confrontation that you have to deal with new circumstances. What have caused it? And I want to get back to that little specific thing for a second in a bit. And the time and energy you have to invest, or had to invest, in regaining your health as best as possible, and in addition, being steadfast in your commitment to heal despite your fear or any encounter that will change your mindset and life regardless of the outcome. So let me get into the circumstances which have caused it, because sometimes it's some people, they have like a car accident and they come out walking. Okay, it may take a half a year or a year for them to recover, but they can do it again.
Yeah.
And then there's me, who tripped on a brick and it took me 7 years to be able to walk again. Two totally different things. And it depends, I've noticed that when there's a lot going on, like for instance in a car accident, people realize it's not good. You can see it straight away. I mean, people might have burn wounds or other stuff. So there's a lot going on. I mean, there's car involved and all that stuff. And in my case, you couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that made it hard for them to believe. And
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, they just, at first I saw something which didn't add up in the pictures, but because that's part of how I'm built, it was disregarded, and I'm afraid that was also partially my fault. Had I known what it meant, I might have reacted differently, but at that moment it made sense, and up till this day it still does, actually. As for one of the polotherapists, he actually said it straight away the next day. He said it, you have a bone that's on the loose. Said it straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, everyone said, no surgery. No, that's normal. No, that's not happening. Everything that you can. And no one was there basically to help me out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's, that sometimes the fact that it's nothing much which is, I'm sorry, that has led up to all of this, the acceptance of that might be hard.
Yeah, because I mean, the acceptance of not being believed, not being trusted, and not being, and people not having faith in you, that's big. I mean, when no one's in your corner, that's a bad place to be.
I love it how you say that. If no one is in your corner, that's a bad place to be. Yeah, that's so true. And I guess that it comes down to support. Most of it comes down to support, but this is an excellent example where it is, if people would only believe me, and if only they would research, investigate, but not let me go back. And I've noticed, especially when it comes to hospitals and doctors, they want you to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And only after you've come back a couple of times, unless you are so certain that you can just say this, that, the other, and the next, that's when they like, okay, if you really want something and it's really hurting really bad, you will come back. And what I've noticed is that people I've been talking to actually do the opposite. They say, yeah, that's nice, that's what they want, but I'm not going back if they don't believe me. So it's, is it one, is it the other?
It's hard to tell. I mean, because people oftentimes don't believe what they don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and not with disabilities, but with certain things, I'm the same way. Like, like I just recently started believing ghosts because if you don't see something for a long time, you don't believe it. But then you see something that you can't explain, you're gonna be all in on it. It's just the way it is. A lot of people. Some people just take a leap of faith and will believe you no matter what, and
Hmm.
that's important, especially in something like that, because that's real, and it's putting you in a painful and suffering condition that can be detrimental to your, not only your physical health, but like eventually your mental health.
Yeah, I totally agree. Hi, Rosie. You're always welcome to join. Um, so we are talking about physical challenges and the courage to actually face it and do something about it. And we're talking about um, people who basically get discouraged by others not believing them, and so how physical challenges actually can have mental consequences. And
Hmm.
I think that's very realistic, very real. What you just were saying. I'm a little bit tired today, Michael. So if I come across a little bit slow, because I can tell I'm
It's fine.
talking a little bit slower than
And
usual.
if we have to wrap it up sooner, that's fine too. I mean, you got to do you. You got to take care of you. So yeah,
Yeah, it's not like I have to wrap up straight away. It's just that I'm noticing that I'm a little bit sluggish when I'm talking.
okay,
So, um,
that's fine.
but Rosie, if you want to join, just send an invitation or send a request, and we'll hook you up. So yeah, this is and this is the thing, just what you said. When people get discouraged,
Hmm.
it affects them for the rest of their lives. It's not just on one thing. It keeps adding up.
Hmm. Oh yeah, it has. I don't think I wouldn't go far as to say it's for the rest of your life, because it depends on what it was, how deep it was, how much happened, and what how quickly you started working on it to correct it. But it does
Yes,
affect you for a long time.
yes, and that's why. Okay, we were talking about discourage and not being believed, but when it comes to trauma, especially, that's why they
Trauma,
want to treat
trauma's bad.
people as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You want to change it. You want to start to heal as quickly as possible, because that, no matter what, is going to take a long time.
Yeah, and you want to prevent people from learning themselves the wrong skills. So
Yeah.
Rosie is telling us that she's in the middle of cooking, but she's listening to us. And Joe is telling me, hi, lovely people. So I don't know if you've recently looked at my Instagram page, but if you have, you might have seen that there are some different posts on there than normal. That's because I'm helping out Joe uh, with her
Yeah.
page.
I was just on there like just before we went live. So yeah.
Yeah, then you might have seen that there are a couple of pictures from the same actor
Yeah.
nonstop.
Hmm.
Well, that's because she has this fan page from Jason Begay, and there's Mina Ye. Hey, hello. And well, she usually does one or more posts, and I totally, well, I'm not going to say I adore the guy, but actually, to a degree, I do. Um, because he likes to see things from opposite views, and that's so important when you can do it. And people usually judge him for the role he plays, but then when you see him in his private life, you actually get to see this whole different side of him, and he's actually there to say to people, unite, support one another. He's the one I got inspired by when it came to
Hmm.
inclusion. I mean, inclusion was already my work, but I didn't know it existed until I saw a video from him.
Yeah.
But helping her out, that's the reason that my page is all of a sudden filled with all these pictures.
I've seen that.
Um,
I haven't seen anything that he's been in.
you haven't seen him?
I've seen him, but I
He's in
haven't seen
Chicago PD.
what. What
He's in
was he?
Chicago PD.
Oh, I've never seen that show.
He is.
Okay.
He's the main character in Chicago PD.
Okay.
So he plays the role of Sergeant Hank Voight, and he's
Okay.
the bad guy, or at least it depends on how you look at it. Because if you follow what he does through all the seasons, then you get to understand that he does it for the right reasons. He does the wrong things for the right reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's it's interesting to, and it's like getting in the mind of someone and slowly exploring, like, okay, why are you doing what you're doing? And
Mm-hmm.
having said so, getting back to what we just said, we can also ask ourselves, when people don't agree with us straight away or don't believe us straight away, why aren't they?
Yeah, because they can be just skeptical, or they can have trauma themselves. Um, no one ever knows what anybody else is going through unless you ask. So
Yes.
that can be a big thing.
Yeah, and the asking part, that's, I don't know. I think, I'm not sure if it's for most people, but for a lot of people, just
Mm-hmm.
asking is maybe the hardest thing for them in life. Because when people get a no, they may be able to take it one time, maybe two times, and then at some point it's like, okay, never mind, and they just close down.
Yeah, that's true. You
Yeah,
get very
especially depending the consequences.
yeah
Yeah, and
yeah
that's you know when it comes to, but what I've learned the 7 years that I've struggled, well, I've been struggling for way more. I've been struggling for decades with my health. Is, I mean, you, when you were born, they of course could see what was going on.
yeah
Then your challenge, of course, was, and especially those of your parents, was to prove that you would be able to achieve far more than anyone had ever thought, which was a huge challenge.
yeah yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to what I'm experiencing, it wasn't visible. And so people always jump to the wrong conclusions. And that made it kind of hard. So, so the two different sides, but both leading to the same thing. We both had to prove, like, hey, we know what we're talking about, and this is what we want to achieve, and we're going for it. And of course, you had your parents fighting for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's major difference.
Oh yeah, thankfully they didn't
And
give up.
yeah, so that's I guess that what I learned in those, especially in those last 7 years, is that I needed to be more specific, and all keep adding certain information. Okay, I can repeat myself, but that's what they know. They will tell me that's what we know. Or I can see, okay, what don't they know? So what do I need to add so they can finally say, oh, hang on, but this is what you didn't say, and this might be typical for ooh,
Typical for what? I mean, I
whatever it
think
is.
okay.
Yeah. So in my case, when I twisted my ankle, first of all, it was on the inside, which is atypical. Other
Hmm.
people always have it on the outside of their ankle. So that was already like weird.
Yeah.
Then I was one of the 7% who had the split bone on the inside of my foot on both sides. That's why they didn't notice it at first, which already made everything different. So those were just two things. And of course, being a therapist myself and having learned to deal with my body, of course, for
Hmm.
decades, I knew that I had to take a break. I had to put my foot up, and I knew how to avoid pain if there was too much pain, and how to get rest. And that was
Hmm.
new because most people just go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had to learn that too. I mean, I
Well, yeah,
had my fair share of things.
like literally
So,
after 2 hours walking, I'm dead tired, and I
yeah,
have to sit. I can't go anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who are tired and they still keep going.
Hmm.
So they ignore the signals of the body
Yeah, that's
until
true.
they
Yeah,
literally fall down.
yeah, I wouldn't do that. I going back to the fear thing. I'd be too afraid to do it because I wouldn't want to fall on my face and break my teeth open. Like, I'd rather just sit down and take a minute. Hey, Terry.
Hey, how's it going?
Yes.
Good.
So good to see you, Terry.
Yeah, appreciate it. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm pretty
Yeah,
good.
well, I've had a long day, not just because of celebrations. So
well,
I'm like,
happy birthday, by the way. I just definitely want to say happy birthday to you. You're
oh,
you're
thank
you're
you.
you're finally 18 all over again, right?
Oh, I love you, Terry. I love you. You're the best. Mm.
Finally turned 21. I get it.
I can drink alcohol.
I know,
Yay!
right? Awesome, man. So what'd you guys do today, man? I know we're talking about courage tonight, but what's going on?
On the show or today? Those are two different questions.
So today and then the show.
Well, for me today actually started last night, and that's why I'm a little bit tired. A friend of mine called that a friend of hers was she had been drinking way too much, and then
Mm-hmm.
she decided that she wanted to end her life because she had
Mm,
been alone for a couple of years already.
that's crazy.
And I had to talk her out of it, of popping pills.
Yeah, I just lost a friend about a high school friend of mine about 3 days ago. He drank himself to death like 3 days ago. Put himself
Oh,
in a coma. So I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So and you know, this was a person who didn't believe that people would miss her.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. I've noticed it before, you know, people who are at the end of their rope, they just don't believe it anymore that they're worthwhile. And everyone who remains behind can say the opposite. Of course, they're not there anymore.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, but I'm sorry that you've lost your friend to the
Yeah.
booze.
Yeah,
Sorry to
it,
hear.
it, it it happens. I mean, it's one of those things that we all have those vices, but just to kind of tie that into courage a little bit, we all have vices, but you got to have the courage to have a better vice. For me, I don't know if it's like a good vice or not, or a better one, but for me, any time that I ever feel like I'm just not having a great day, or it's just one of those, like I just don't have the courage or the confidence or, just the ability to show up that day, I'll just go to sleep. I literally would just go to sleep. So there's all these different things that you can do. Like you can drink, you can go out, and you can do all these, take things and do all these different things. But for me, I choose to sleep, or I choose to just go meditate or go rest, go close my eyes and just kind of calm myself down, slow myself down long enough to where I can kind of rethink things through. And sometimes that little rest, that little reset, that little recuperation allows me to get back after it once I wake up. Today was one of those days. Today was one of those days. I'm going to be 100% transparent. I didn't feel my best today. And it was one of those things where I was having a little bit of brain fog. I was having a little bit of blurry vision today. And it was just kind of one of those things. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go sit down. I'm going to go lay down and I'm going to take care of myself. And I'm just going to go take a nap. And after I took my nap, I feel better. So it's one of those things that people have their different ways of coping with things or dealing with things, whatever label you want to put on it.
Yeah.
For me, it's a nap.
Yeah, I get it. I do so too. I've learned to take breaks. How
Mm-hmm.
about you, Michael?
Um, I'm a caffeine fiend, so I'll have tea and watch something funny. Yeah, yeah. I'll have hot tea, coffee, and drink something funny, and then that'll make me better. I do water too. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
have because of my disability. I drink water because it'll mess me up if I don't.
Yeah, water is one of those things that helps it helps with stress as well too. So whenever you drink water, it does a lot of different things. It flushes out toxins within your body, and it lowers your stress levels. So if you ever feel like you're stressed or you're kind of overthinking something, drink some water. I'm telling you, it'll cold water, nice cold water, just guzzle that sucker down. I guarantee you'll feel a whole lot better.
Because that was the exact thing I told the friend of the friend to do. Go
Mm-hmm.
drink cold water now.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she had
helps.
finished a glass of wine, which I didn't want her to, but she did. But she did drink the cold glass of water,
Mm-hmm.
and I got her to eat something too. By the way, this one, so we have the small one and this one. This one is filled half with water and half with almond milk. It's a protein shake, but low calorie version.
Here a little bit, I'll have my mushroom tea. So in the morning I have mushroom tea, and then at night I have mushroom tea. So it's two different versions of mushroom tea. One helps me kind of get focused and energy and going in the morning, and then one helps me kind of relax and calm down at night. And I have a different mix or blend of both that helps do different things.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Was that?
I'm sorry. No, I didn't either.
It's better than drinking
about
coffee.
Mushrooms having a certain effect, but not for your health.
Yes, so mushrooms do have some health benefits. It's like a nootropic, so to speak. It helps you gain focus, gain clarity. It kind of calms you down, and there's certain types of mushrooms that will really kind of help lower anxiety and stress. So the reishi mushroom is what I drink at night. So I'll take like a teaspoon of reishi mushroom. I'll mix that in with some turmeric, some cinnamon, some cardamom, all those things that kind of soothe you and kind of calm you down. I'll take some organic coconut palm sugar, and then I'll mix that in with some hot water. And that's what I drink at night. And some cocoa, some actual, not hot chocolate, but I'm talking about actual cocoa. And that's kind of my nighttime hot chocolate mix, so to speak. And that really calms me down. And in the morning, there's it's chai tea. So it's a chai tea. And it's kind of the same mix, but it has 7 different types of mushrooms. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. It's like maitake, cordyceps, lion's mane. There's like 7 different mushrooms that's blended in with this, and it's not a whole lot. Don't think like I'm putting like a whole pound of mushrooms. No, it's really not a whole lot of mushrooms, but it's enough it's like 500 milligrams of mushroom mix, so it's not a lot. And
you probably need to know the balance and which ones, because we don't want people to hallucinate. We want the good effects. By the way, Rosie says nice tea mix, Terry.
Yeah, Rosie, hey.
So I don't know if you remember, and I'm not entirely sure if I communicated this to Michael. I believe I did, that I asked you to come on the show. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, but this topic is about physical struggle, physical challenges, and how courage helps you with it. And actually, if I say, if you dare to explore what you're being confronted with, you'll be surprised to find out how much courage you have in you to turn your life around for the better. And with everything that's going on in the Ukraine, my first thought was about, okay, there are going to be a lot of people who get hurt in the process. And I don't mean necessarily being killed, but I mean who come out of the war with some sort of disability. Well, I know that you have been on the front, so in the line of fire. And I also know that you do have some disabilities. So I was wondering if you wanted to share something about it, because I believe that it's important that we get people to understand what's actually going on right now and what the consequences may be.
Yeah, so pardon me if I do cough a little bit. I'm still trying to get over this thing I've had for the last 3 weeks. So I do have a slight cough here. And I'm chewing on cough drops. But no, courage. So for me, here's where courage comes from. Courage comes from confidence. All right. And when you have the confidence, knowing that you have the knowledge, the skills, the experience, the ability to take on whatever it is that comes your way, you will have the courage to face whatever it is that comes your way, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the circumstances are. So the thing is that you can never really be fully trained to face rocket fire or to face gunfire or whatever the case may be. It's one of those things that, you know, even with a big military background like myself, I trained for that. You know, I trained having gunfire and explosions and all these different things prior to going into combat. When you go into combat, you know, it's one of those, I have to kind of move this for a second. I have to do something here, but I'm going to talk. I'm going to multitask while I'm doing this. But it's one of those things that you can train, and it's from that training that you actually get the confidence because you go through the motions multiple times. And it's from that confidence that you have the courage to face fear or adversity or struggles, no matter what that is. So that's the reason why I tied confidence into it, because I truly believe that confidence plays a huge role in having the courage to do things. Now, once again, I'm definitely not one of those guys that you know, I enjoy like gunfire, rocket fire thing. I never enjoyed those moments, but I'll share one quick entertaining one with you though, and it was one of those things that I did not want to drop my food. So I'm in Iraq and we're getting incoming rocket fire, and I'm just coming out of the mess hall, chow hall, cafeteria, dining facility, whatever label. I had food in my hand, in other words, and I didn't want to drop my food, so I'm walking out of this thing and it's like boom, 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 like holy smokes. And then the seventh rocket that hit landed about 10 feet in front of me, but it did not explode. But I'm watching like the other six in front of me about 200-300 feet away, just blowing stuff up. I'm like, holy crap. In the back of my mind, I'm like, holy crap. But really in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not dropping this food. So it's kind of one of those things. But it was that last one that really kind of got me. And in that moment right there, I froze. I didn't duck. I didn't take cover. I didn't do anything. I froze. I just stopped and I looked and I watched. And I'll tell you why I did that. Because I wanted to see where it was coming from and where the dust was going and where everything was hitting in the direction. So that way I knew which way to go from that point. You know, it was just kind of one of those things. But that last one that hit, that one really kind of felt different because I felt the sand just kind of brush all over me. And I didn't explode, but it hit the ground and blew sand all over me. So it's just kind of one of those things. How do you have courage in a situation like that? Once again, it comes down to confidence, the training, the knowledge, the skills, the ability to know what to do, even under fire. You have to be that calm in the chaos. And that's where it becomes really important is in the eye of chaos, you must be the calm that keeps everything and everybody else calm. Because if I got bent out of shape, if I got excited, if I was like, holy crap, or you know, whatever, then I would get other people excited. And then they wouldn't have the courage or the confidence to take appropriate action in that moment right there. So it's one of those things that during the chaos, you must be the calm. So during that moment, I was well trained. I knew what was going on. What would I do if I would have got hit? Well, nothing. I would have got hit. So it was just kind of one of those things that I've already had that in the back of my head. I've already got that in the back of my mind. So I don't let that bother me. I don't let that get under my skin. I know what my actions must be. The first steps that I do is like accountability. I got to get accountability. Did anybody get hurt? Did anybody get hit? You have to remember that, because if you start being the chaos, during the chaos, things get even more chaotic. So that's the reason why I kind of point out that you must have the courage to face that chaos by being the calm during the storm.
That's a good one.
So hopefully that kind of ties a little bit of that into there, just to give you a real world example. So during that moment, here I am, I'm getting accountability. I'm checking on my people. I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm physically going and I'm seeing you face to face, eye to eye. Are you good? Are you good? You okay? Have you seen so-and-so? where's so and so? You know, it's accountability at that point. And then because I have a job, I have to go report to my higher up, hey, all of my people are good, we're accounted for, there's no injuries, there's no damage, there's no nothing. Now, at the opposite end of that spectrum, I remember one particular incident where we did lose somebody. And it's one of those things to where here I am being the calm during the chaos, and somebody took that moment for granted. Oh, we're good. It hit way over there. Don't worry about it. What are you trying to get accountability for? I was like, look, we need to go get accountability. So I need you to move your ass and go, and go get accountability. Long story short, we lost somebody that day. And it's one of those things that the hardest thing that I ever had to do is to go tell somebody. Now, here's where real courage comes into play, is to go tell somebody, hey, man, your wife just got killed by a rocket attack. That was hard. That was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do.
Yeah, I totally believe that. I totally do. Mm-hmm. So, I did have another question. You have some disabilities, I believe, or I've assumed that they are part of what you have done, fighting.
Yeah.
So,
I fell off the top of a building and landed butt first. It doesn't feel too good when you fall off the top of a building. And well, the first thing I did was I hit my back against a wall, and then I landed on my side. So I've had like permanent sciatic nerve damage in my lower back for I don't know how many years. I got this knot back here that just it just won't go away. So I walk with a permanent limp. I've got 100% like total arthritis, just because of the physical aspects of it, because I have to ruck march whether I want to. And I'm not talking about just like, a little stroll in the park. We're talking about 10, 15, 20, 26, 30 miles. You know what I'm saying? And there was a particular event where we did 26 miles. It didn't feel good. And you have to do these things whether you want to or not. And that's the thing about the military. You have to do these things whether you want to, whether you feel like it or not. And when you face those moments, it's like, man, you have to muster the courage in order to lead the way. So as a senior leader, you can't fall back. You can't do that. You have to be right up there in the front telling everybody, you need to move, you need to do this, you need to do that. That takes a little bit of courage to do that. That takes a little bit of confidence in order to do that. Because whether you want to or not, your people are watching. And when they're watching and they see what you're doing, they're going to follow your lead. You have to have the courage to run circles around them, to be up in the front, to do those things. So it takes courage to lead others, whether you want to or not, whether they want to or not. You must be stronger than the resistance that's in front of you. Now, that resistance could be anything. It could be people. It could be a roadblock. It could be a situation, a circumstance. It could be whatever label that you want to put on it. You must be stronger than the resistance that you are facing. And sometimes that takes a little bit of courage in order to face that thing, because it's like, oh, I don't want to. Do I have to? Should I? Yeah, you must. You must do that. And it's a matter of modifying, tweaking, and changing that language that's right up there inside your head in order to overcome that resistance. Because the moment that you allow that to take over, you will lose your courage. You will lose your confidence. And then you will make every freaking excuse in the book on why you can't do something, why I shouldn't do something. And then you'll be asking yourself, well, gosh, why didn't I do that thing? You lost your courage. You lost your confidence. You lost your will. And it's all because of that right there, being weak.
Yeah, that's so true. So, Michael, when Terry says it's about the courage to be stronger than the resistance you're facing, I mean, you probably recognize that too.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you have to push through in every situation. It's just, no matter what people think we can or can't do, and I'm like the way I am. I'm stubborn. If someone doesn't think I can do something, I'll do it, fall on my face, and do it again. That's just the way you just, I mean, I am my own worst enemy. Other people, I'm stronger than what they put on me. But myself, I put on myself the worst of everything. Like my mindset, what I say to myself is worse than what anybody else thinks about me.
Yeah.
That's the part that gets me not as strong as I'd like to be sometimes.
Yeah, I'm thinking about something all of a sudden. So my mom was always like, "Oh, don't climb on this, don't climb on that." Till this day, I still can't climb trees. Just saying it. But the moment that I started using those crutches, at some point I was known for high-speed crutch hopping because I would like go like zoom, and then I was done. By the time I was done with it, so I actually used them to go climb the mountains at some point in Phoenix, just to go up there. And I noticed that when it came to my freedom, there was nothing holding me back. It was like, okay, I need to go there, so let's try it. And if it doesn't work, what do I have to lose? And that's
Mm-hmm.
a whole different ball game, as opposed to, um, well, climbing a tree or whatever it is. So I do believe it did make me a lot stronger. But it's
Mm-hmm.
probably like, okay, what do you have to gain?
Mm-hmm. It's great to see you walking around and stuff, though. I mean, I've truly enjoyed seeing a lot of your posts here lately, and I just want to say congratulations, by the way, on your progress
Thank
and
you.
your ability to do the things that you're doing, because you're setting an example. Michael is setting an example. The things that you guys are doing despite certain situations or circumstances, because a lot of people will use that as excuses to stop, but you're using those as reasons to keep going.
Yes.
And that's what I love.
Yes, that's so true. Yeah, I recently, I think last Friday night, I posted me going down the stairs with
Mm.
wearing my brace.
Mm.
That
I saw
was,
that. I
yeah,
saw that.
yeah. So that was, and I just wanted to show people like, okay, when I go down the stairs, I can do it. I don't need to hold the railing, but I need to be careful. I need to, think about what's going on.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons I actually wore the brace was because it was so crowded outside. Inside it wasn't that bad, but outside it was really bad. And
Mhm.
as a result, I was like, okay, I need to give people a signal that they need to see that I cannot just twist around. And of course, there are those people out there who then still go like, past you. So one
Mhm.
did so, and she just needed to go to her bicycle, and of course we passed her, and I said, "Okay, I don't appreciate what you just did." And she was
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, sorry." And I said, "Yeah, but do you see that I'm actually wearing a brace?" "Oh yeah, now that you mention it." I said, "Do you know why I'm wearing it?" So I explained it to her, and I explained what consequences could have been if I had not been wearing it.
Mhm.
And so the one I was with, he was like, "Oh, she's already apologizing, this, that, and the other." And I was like, "Yeah, but this is about her understanding what's going on." And I've noticed a lot of times people are not willing to explain to people what's going on, because I would have been upset if she had ignored me, but she
Mhm.
didn't. Within 1 second we had a good conversation going, and I wished her the best of luck, great evening, and it felt good.
Mhm.
And I knew she knew, and then hopefully next time she would spread the message to other people,
Mhm.
and that's probably also why I like to, it's part of it is about me being proud of myself, making progress, but it's also about showing other people like, okay, um, and this is what I now can do, and I have to say it's very, it's I would almost say a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
So in a couple of weeks, I will be going to a concert, and there were only wheelchair tickets available for the disabled people. So I went and I talked to my surgeon, and I said, "Well, it doesn't feel good. I'm walking now. I'm not using my crutches
Mhm.
anymore. I do have it in the back of my car because you never know what happens, and I still can't stand for a long period of time." So I called to the venue and I said, "Okay, listen, this is the story. I can't stand up for a long period of time. I notice you still have wheelchair spots. Can I sit on a bar stool or anything?" And he said, "No, you need to come in your wheelchair." So I said that to the surgeon, and he said, "Well, you got it. just do it. And
Mm-hmm.
that is, you know, that's really like an internal struggle for me right now. Like, so what does this mean? Do I need to get in the wheelchair the moment I get out of the car? It doesn't make sense. It
Mm-hmm.
only makes sense that I'm going to sit in there when I need to sit down, actually. And those
So
are
let me ask this question right here.